from the Hazleton Standard Speaker, this is your Local News 13.
That was how it all began. The debut of local news for the greater Hazleton area on January 5th, 1994. Your Local News 13 was a dream come true for then executive producer Sam Lassant, as he explained just before that first program hit the airwaves.
Tonight, January 5th, 1994, is another milestone for our area. Local news has been a dream of mine for many years.
And now, a quarter of a century later, the now president and CEO of Samson Productions and SSPTV recalls that dream that led to 25 years of what he calls neighbor talking to neighbor.
Every time Hazleton or our area was featured, it was either through a disaster or a fire or a murder, etc. And there's so many great things happening in the town. You know, and so I thought we should put together a local news and local programming to just show off the town, bring good information, not sad information as well. So that's the vision we had. And I worked on it for about 5 years. And I'm very thankful to Hoyt Walder, Service Electric Cablevision, who definitely was very ahead of his time.
25 years is a major accomplishment. And when it comes to local news and technology, the changes are nonstop. But the local news program stayed on course.
Sam had a dream as a young boy to really get into entertainment. He loves this community, as we all do. And he always wanted to bring something to this area to highlight this area. So he had the idea for a local news, and he presented it to several investment groups that he belonged to. They weren't too keen on the idea. They thought he was crazy, but he had the idea. So as we grew through our marriage and whatever, with my having a business and him having his business, we still always had that idea in the back of our minds. So when our children expressed a desire, because Sam had the Spotlight Talent Showcase, so Sammy and Janine would go with him on a Saturday to the studio, and they would help him. And Sam Jr. co-hosted, and Janine was the coordinator of all the talent. So as they got older, they expressed a desire to go into mass communications. And at that point, we looked at each other and we thought, well, this is it.
Several things distinguish Local News 13, now SSPTV News, from the other regional news stations. First and foremost was the fact that this television station was and continues to be run by a family.
If I had to pick a model to complement my life, it would be my parents, because really back then, who would have thought that little Hazleton needed its own local news when we had these big regional news stations. I was actually going to school for broadcast at the time. So for me, it was very exciting to be in the newsroom and thinking, wow, like I looked up to my parents because I thought they're going to do this, they're going to make this happen. They made their vision become a reality.
We started the local news for Hazleton because of the fact that we weren't getting the hyper-local news from Hazleton. We wanted to hear about what was going on in Hazleton and Cunningham and Drums and Freeland and McAdoo, and we weren't hearing that on the other local channels, so we said, well, why don't we just make our own channel?
And because it was and is a family-run television station, every family member did whatever job they had to do, no matter what.
My brother and I are very fortunate that my parents didn't just hand us a business and said, here you go, you're a manager. When we first started News 13, I remember running wires and braiding the anchor's hair and doing her makeup, and we learned every single part of the job. We worked nights, we worked weekends, you know, we stayed on holidays just like everyone else did within the company, and that taught me a lot about work ethic. It taught me a lot about being a team player. When
we first started the news, we were just starting college, and I was a mass communications major, so my first 2 years you don't really get a hands-on experience in school. But I was fortunate to go to school and then come back, and they had me run studio camera. Maybe a couple months later they'd say, okay, go in the control room, watch him direct, run the graphics, run audio. So I was basically doing everything behind the scenes and learning as I went along.
Fast forward to 2019. SSPTV is now online, in high definition, on social media, and it has its own app.
With the advent of the internet and Facebook, everyone knows what's happening as far as fires, accidents, anything that's instantaneous, they know about. So we decided to maybe find another niche and craft it where we can tell longer, better stories on community-minded events and people.
I embrace change. I love it. People talk about technology. It's in our favor. We do video, we do social media, we blend them together, and wow, I'm very excited for the next generation, meaning my brother and I, and what we plan to do moving forward in 2019. And the next 25 years will be me, my brother, and our children and their generation.
So we have roughly about 250,000 households now versus 20,000 households when we started. The thing is, boils down to this, people want to know what's happening in their backyards.
Technology really has taken off, and it's really been a great advantage. We're able to come into people's homes, not only on their cable system, but also, as you said, on all the social media, and people are learning quickly.
While the name, the hairstyles, and the people have changed over the years, the dream remains the same. A dream made possible by the community it served.
I do want to thank our viewers and our sponsors, because without them we really would not be on the air. They really backed us from the very beginning. They had a good faith in us. I guess Sam had proven himself from long ago, and we just sort of rode Sam's coattails because he was always a good leader.
While this story does not do justice to the history and the many local programs created over the years, you can learn much more in a special episode of Let the People Know, coming soon to SSPTV. Until then, congratulations to the Lassand family. Happy anniversary, SSPTV. Reporting from Hazleton, I'm Lisa Sugart.